Mics are hot, guys. What? I thought this was a boat.
No.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
Oh, okay.
You'll have that.
Hey.
Put that over in the next stack.
Yeah.
Glad I brought that up. In a big ass filing cabinet, I brought it up to spare bedroom because that's where all the stuff. And I take it out for a year and I box it.
What's that? Oh, your
On my notes.
Your packets?
Yes. Or no, one might have to revert
No,
back.
you never know. That's right. I got a scanned copy of them all. I keep the
Do you?
copy.
You're more computer literate than I am. I'm not. I'm not that much.
If computer illiterate means I ask Kristen to scan them and for me.
You're better than I am on a computer end of thing.
Hey, you know who I could talk with about getting asbestos pipe taken out of a home?
Really, Charlie, one that did all the city's work, Taylor,
Charlie Taylor.
ATC, and then there's a group out of, tell you who to talk to, because he hired somebody. Guy that just bought the building up there from where Al and Lisa rented, Scott McCain or McLean.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Ask him
I will.
who he brought down.
He was just here
Like
for
me.
playing. He was the playing commission last week. He was here.
Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah.
He made him get inspecting stuff, and he didn't use, he used somebody else,
I thought
so he could give your name.
Okay.
I've never had to do it.
sounds like things ain't going the way they're supposed to be.
They aren't?
They're arguing. I don't know, and I may not want to know.
Me neither, I don't know either. Tony called me 2 or 3 times the last weekend, and he
I may not want to know.
he ain't been in that town either. How are you, sir?
How you doing, John?
Thanks.
You're welcome. How are you? Good. We got 5 minutes.
You guys are noisy.
I know. It's the end of the day.
Okay, let's get.
It's the end of the day. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi there, how are you?
The boss coming, or are you here?
He's on the phone with Dell, I think.
Oh, okay.
He's out there in the hall. Yeah. The only guy that tall out there that I can.
Hey, John. Just seeing you once today.
Busy day?
Yeah. Dare believe it.
No.
Now, what do I want that for?
Hey, buddy. How are you? Good. How are you
Huh?
doing?
I want one
Here,
of
here,
them.
give it here. Give it here. I got it. Tony, how are you? Perfect guy that wants it.
We need those. Need them for Lawrenceburg.
He's here.
You steal that off a bike?
It was laying here when I got here.
We say Randy.
How you doing?
Good, good seeing you.
Buddy? Bet he took that
What's
off
up,
the bike.
Mr.
Hey,
Tyler? How
are
you
you?
doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Hi, Aaron.
How you doing today?
Good.
The official email here. Here's some of There's some of the redevelopment stuff I'm looking at. Can have all that there.
More paperwork?
Back to
me.
I'll look through it.
I got some more too.
I wouldn't have
That's
done
the good
that.
stuff.
No, I didn't.
Aaron, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. More redevelopment stuff.
Because he's already flunked everything.
I know, I said it in the wrong place at the wrong time, wasn't I?
Yep. I figure out that's on no
We'll be
time.
all right. We'll be all right.
Tyler.
Don't open it.
Oh, goes the mic.
So this is official. This is? Yep.
Wait till my car comes in.
Give it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Mario across the Sears place.
What's up, Slick? What's going on? How you doing? How you doing?
What is it? We got some drainage up there across from Cold Weather Street, between the apartment complex.
Yeah, you had that extra week.
Apartments and then on the Sears is a drain, you know, common thing down there.
We're waiting on you to get back.
Drains come off the street, going right off and went down into that hole. They're like,
You come in this tomorrow?
crap out, washing it away halfway down the time here, so.
I'm not sure.
Kennedy's got some
Starts at
banks
4:30, but they finance it at 4 or something.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, Doug. How you doing?
You know, good.
Hey, Doug. How are you?
She called me.
I got
I don't know what, I don't know what age you want, but
Find out what's
I
going on.
wasn't trying to schedule anything. I don't know. I would assume.
I think Mario will be here, I think.
I don't know for sure, but I would have thought they'd been here by now if they were
What
coming.
I found up there.
So you probably can.
construction When they built our house,
Sit there and tell somebody.
PVC
Okay.
pipe may not have any glue on it. You know, 'cause it might have come apart, blowed apart, some of that mess.
I got 2 minutes, huh?
Just that big green stuff.
Well,
Oh,
so
that's been a long time too.
Got to come apart. Well, you know, when they put some things together, they might fudge a little bit on things, a lot of things maybe. So he said you don't know anything until you go out and look at it.
All you have to take is your agreement. Meeting minutes. Yeah. I thought, when was that I talked? Friday? Yes, I called. Happy Thursday.
I heard you have raised all kind of hell lately.
Me? Oh, yeah, all kinds. Things don't go the way I want it to.
There you go.
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah.
how's it going?
Okay,
Is this the lease in here?
we'll go ahead and call this
Got front line too.
special session to order. Could I get a, on, what is the date here? 14, or 7th? August 7th, 2017, at 5 PM. Could I get a roll call, please?
Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Mel Davis. Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Attorney Doug Garner.
Here.
Utility Director Owen Clausen.
Present.
Mayor Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay. Purpose of tonight's meeting, the special session is for one purpose only, is to hear a proposal from Linkmar Development regarding potential project on the, as part of the Ellis property, I believe.
They were trying to get that one.
Thanks.
This one was never signed. That
you.
means-
Mel will be just a little late.
Yeah. let me get that.
Yeah, he had a doctor's appointment.
Thank you, sir.
Go ahead there, Mr. Bischoff.
All right, good evening, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to sit and talk to everyone about this, what we think is going to be a great opportunity. Let me first start by introducing myself and everybody involved in my party. Brian Bischoff, obviously lifelong residents of Lawrenceburg, born and raised here. Excited to be back and always an opportunity to present good opportunities for the council. Everyone knows Steve Lankmeyer, Mike Razzo, and then also John Montgomery from Proximo. Again, as Kelly mentioned, we're here to discuss the Lawrenceburg warehouse proposal, and I'll just start off with it right away. So Steve and I had been in contact with John several times, talking about the opportunities of them wanting to locate a warehouse in the district of the city limits of Lawrenceburg. Fortunately, we have some land available that we feel like is an ideal location for them, and they've given us every indication that it would be a great spot for them. So what we did is we kind of put together this handout, kind of talking about some of the bullet points and pros of why we think it's a good fit, and also this map. So let me just kind of start out by this large map here. Kind of off US 50, where we had proposed for Proximo to be, as you can see, right here is this 500,000 square foot warehouse. As you kind of come up Florence Drive, there'll be an entrance, ideally coming where their trucks would come right here, and then kind of exit down through there. So if you guys, I know you all probably know the site, so there's quite a bit of excavating that needs to be done off the top of that hill. There's an additional 10 to 20 acres in addition to what is encumbered by the city, kind of sits on top of that hill. So there's just a tremendous amount of excavating that needs to be done. Basically what we're proposing is we're going to take dirt off the site and basically moving it down to the 17-acre site that sits behind the Kroger's right now. Obviously, some of the benefits that we had talked about in looking at this site is that this is a 500,000 square foot warehouse that we're proposing. It's going to generate roughly $350,000 per year in property tax. It's going to create 21 high-paying jobs. What is ideal about this site is it's already zoned. All the utilities are there. And it has great accessibility. There's 2 entrances off US 50, as I mentioned earlier, and one with a traffic light. Everybody see that? All right. What's it going to take? Pretty simple. What we're trying to do is create just a win-win for all parties involved and resolve all the differences that we've had in the past and we have ongoing. What we're asking for is a grant from the city to basically take the site off the Waterview Commerce Park and fill in the Kroger properties behind Kroger's, the 17 acres. We've heard there's an estimate out there for around 500,000 yards of dirt, 480,000 to be exact cubic yards. Once that's complete, and whatever amount that is, if it's a little bit less, if it's a little bit more, we'll give the city an option to basically acquire that Kroger property for $1 upon completion. So we'll just give it back once it's done. Make sense? Immediate benefits to the city. Again, what we're trying to do here is create a win-win for all parties. For Proximo, for the city of Lawrenceburg, for everyone involved. It's obvious the benefits of adding a valuable distribution facility like this. It creates new jobs. It's actually going to pull back jobs that right now are going, across the state. A lot of jobs are right now being filled in other warehouses and warehouse facilities over in northern Kentucky, I believe, and in Ohio, I assume. The beneficial, the economic benefits of that are obviously, employees are going to spend money locally here. They live locally. They eat here. They buy cars here. They buy homes here. 21 union jobs is the estimate of what that'll do. High-paying 21 union jobs of what this warehouse will create. It's a great economic benefit for all involved. In addition to that, there's going to be 17 acres developed along the Ohio River. Shovel-ready. 17 acres, that's arguably the most valuable land in southeastern Indiana that the city's going to get back and do with it whatever you choose. Whether you want to sell it, whether you want to develop it, hold it, whatever. It's going to be a valuable piece of land that the city's going to get back that's fully developed. There's going to be another 20 or 30 acres of currently undeveloped ground within the Waterview Commerce Park that also will be shovel-ready. If you kind of see, if you go back to the map, you see the 500,000 square foot warehouse. There's going to be an additional 4 or 5 pieces of property that also is going to be developed. That's going to be ready for development. That I suspect that with, hopefully, the imminent port that's coming, it's not going to take long to have those sites developed. So in addition to the $350,000 property tax that just the warehouse is going to generate, you're going to have all these other parcels of land that's going to generate also significant amounts of property tax. Proximo is going to be a 15-year commitment. It's just a great long-term commitment for, you know, continued good relationship with a strong-time, long-term corporate citizen. It's invaluable. Obviously, all the jobs created to build the warehouse, to do the excavating, the full-time jobs that's created within the warehouse, that's all just increased income tax revenue as well. A couple other peripheral benefits, the improvements of the drainage and the soil erosion on Waterview Commerce Park will pretty much be taken care of. You know, right now, that is not fully developed. I know the Waterview Commerce Apartments right now struggle at times with some of their erosion control. All that should pretty much be taken care of. Another benefit to the city, pretty much ensures repayment of their outstanding mortgage balance. It resolves the mortgage loan issue that we're having right now with the city. It also just resolves all pending litigation. We all drop everything among us and just put it behind us and create this win-win for everybody that's involved. The city especially. What we're really excited about this deal, guys, is that the deal pretty much pays for itself. If you go to the very last page of the handout, there's been an estimate that it's going to take 480,000 cubic yards to fill in the 17 acres. $14 a cubic yard is what it's going to take in order to fill that 17 acres. The dollar cost on that is going to be roughly $6.7 million. The city's going to reacquire the land worth $2 million. Again, I mentioned earlier, I argue it's probably some of the most valuable piece of real estate in all of southeastern Indiana. I have no clue for sure where the port's going. You all probably know much more than that than I do, but I would reckon to say that piece of land is probably going to be somewhere right in the middle of all the port activity and all the opportunities that create from just both an economic development standpoint and tax base and whatever you decide to do with it. I would say that land is easily going to be worth $2 million. I would argue possibly even a lot more. So the city basically reacquires that land, reacquires that asset. We'll agree to basically pay back the city $3 per cubic yard on the movement of the dirt. 480,000 cubic yards times $3. We're basically going to give back the city $1.44 million of the $3 million that we owe on the first mortgage. That's a total cash outlay of a net of $3.28 million, if you count the $2 million value of what the 17 acres is worth. The yearly property taxes is, again, roughly $350,000. The deal pays for itself alone just on this warehouse in less than 10 years, 9.37 years. Plus, all the economic benefits of, obviously, that we talked about earlier, the jobs, the local spending, and I think probably what, again, shouldn't be lost is that all the additional tax revenue that all the other shovel-ready ground's going to create. We estimate that's probably going to be in time somewhere between $600,000 and $800,000 per year in property tax revenue. the additional 20 to 30 acres is going to be able to be developed on the Waterview Commerce site, and then the development of the 17 acres, and that being shovel-ready, and the tax base that's going to create. Again, it's in a significant amount of money that, you could argue this thing could probably pay for itself in 4 to 5 years, if not less, depending how quickly this develops and things kind of come together with the port, I would assume. But we feel like this is a great deal for everyone involved. It's a win-win. We think the city benefits immensely by getting ground that's ready, having a corporate partner who's ready to move. I think John can attest to their desire to want to get a deal done and have a presence in the city that makes sense for their business. We feel really, really good about it, and we hope that everybody in the city kind of sees from our perspective and why we think this can be a good deal to put a lot of the differences that we've had before behind us and kind of move forward. So with that, that's really pretty much the presentation. Any thoughts, questions?
Any questions up here? Paul?
I got a question for you or John. 21 jobs, are those jobs relocating and you're able to keep them, or are those new jobs? They'd be new. So everybody over here keeps, or maybe you rotate, but
We will relocate people, but they'll get the option from the regular warehouse to go over.
Right.
But in addition to, there'll be another 21.
okay.
So, and we will move a lot of them over because a lot of the warehouse forklift drivers are going to want to move to the new warehouse. Then the old warehouse will become our VAR center, or value-added packaging center. So we'll still need the forklift drivers and different workers, but we're going to it's always first come, first serve for the union people, so they'll pick what they want.
John, while you're up there, because we're recording it, that's the only reason you got to be up there, but when would you like to see the warehouse completed and ready for, I know you're
You
going
can't
across.
phase it in today, but,
Okay,
I think we're hoping for 18 months to 2 years.
okay.
After you look at the timeline for everything that it requires, I'd like to see 18 months, but I'd say it's probably going to be 2 years.
Okay.
But anything we can shave off of that.
Right. So
We're in 7 warehouses right now today
Right.
with over 1 million cases. That's a fact. So we're paying it every day. So it makes a lot more sense to me to pay it here and consolidate all the business and control it than it is to put it in 7 warehouses. That's it.
You've
Makes
been
sense.
at 2 presentations now, so I'm glad you was here tonight, and I'm not gonna ask you for a presence, which one you'd prefer. I'm just glad you're interested in this project. Shows me that you're behind it.
We're still waiting for one of these projects to hand me a deal.
Okay.
I'm glad to see you're supporting both of them. How much dirt can you move a day?
About 4,000 yards.
Or how many trucks?
I'm probably gonna run 2 shifts.
Oh, 2 shifts?
Yeah, I'll run 2 shifts. The weather's a big factor.
One thing I didn't touch on, I'd maybe like to add real quickly. We're also not asking for any reduction, actually, in the amount of the loan. So if you can kind of walk through the math, again, we owe the city roughly $3 million. $3 times the 480,000 cubic yards, or let's just say it's a 500,000 yards, keep the math simple. That's $1.5 million that would be paid back to the city by the excavating. That leaves $1.5 million loan that we would then reduce based on the amount of land that's sold. So in the Proximo deal, we're estimating it's going to be somewhere around 20 to 25 acres. That at that point, we would just reduce the amount of the loan that's encumbered by obviously what we're going to need for the acreage. So in that case, it's about $25,000 an acre that's remain. So at that point, we would pay the city back an additional $750,000 of the $1.5 million loan that's remaining, and then continue to develop the other 20 to 30 acres which is then how the city would be paid back the balance of the loan.
But also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the way I'm reading it anyway, I guess, this is based on 500,000 cubic yards. If it's 600,000 cubic yards, then obviously it's going to reduce that mortgage.
Correct.
As well,
Yeah.
okay.
If it ends up being 600,000 yards, then it would be 1.8.
1.8, yeah.
That would be off the balance of the
Okay.
loan. And again, just to kind of elaborate, we're basically using the excavating of this site, or to fill in the 17 acres, to get this pad ready. You know, basically to kind of shape the hill, or to shape Waterview Commerce Park to accommodate Proximo in this 500,000 feet. So essentially, whatever mechanisms used by the city to pay for it, they're paying for the site to get ready. At the same time, obviously, we're creating the land, the 17 acres that inevitably will go back to the city, shovel ready. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Any other questions?
I got a question for Michael. Did you guys participate in the figuring of the yardage on the site?
The 480,000, I think, was the number that your engineer came up with. We did not create that number.
Okay, so that would have been,
We don't have a true accurate number yet.
okay.
Not, I mean, it may be within whatever, but
I
tolerance.
got another question for.
We just know it needs to be
Mr.
22 feet above elevation down there, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean, would you agree with me that if we've got a site and we can do a topo, that we can come up, I mean, how long would it take you to come up with a cubic yardage number?
We could come up with an accurate number probably within a week to 2 weeks tops. There has been a little bit of earth movement over there since the topo that we have, so we'd have to just go out and verify that. So it really wouldn't be that difficult to come up with a good number.
I think he's talking about 17 acres.
Oh, the 17,
About 17 acres.
a day or two.
It's pretty simple math.
Yes, sir.
I mean, the only thing, guys, is I want to stress here, and I don't think either party needs to go in this with any mysteries. And I don't want to harp on it, but we need to know the number. And there's no reason, Michael, is there any reason why we shouldn't know the number? I mean, I'm a little uncomfortable with just saying, hey, this amount of yards. I don't want it turning into a fiasco.
Well, I agree, I agree with that, Paul. I think whatever, we do need to know that up front, what that number is, I think, so we can talk and do our numbers and everything, whatever needs to be done. But obviously, I don't think we want to hold it to, I mean, we just want the project to be shovel-ready like you're presenting, no matter how many yards it takes.
Right.
I think is what I'm trying to say. Because we obviously don't want to.
Well, there's an additional 7 acres, and I'm not sure if redevelopment owns it, the city owns it, exactly who owns it, but there's an additional 7 acres next to the 17 acres that, we would like an opportunity to possibly bid on that as well. I think it's the best money that the city can possibly spend, just because, again, it's arguably the most valuable ground in southeastern Indiana, so.
Would you also, that brings up my other question I was going to ask. Once this lot is filled, do you anticipate having to haul more dirt away? And the answer I think you just gave me, yes, you do. So, once this project got going, and if we seen it was the right thing to do, would you be willing to still contribute towards the loan amount on that additional acreage that you guys were interested in possibly?
Sure,
So that's another avenue of possible income,
absolutely.
or not income, but
Reduction.
reduction.
Anybody else? Now's the time to ask questions.
I just have a comment. We need land to develop. And really, this gives us 34 acres to develop, roughly. Because 17 and 17, wherever they take the dirt from. Or more, maybe.
Well, it'd be,
maybe
actually,
it's-
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Significantly more. I mean, our site would, not counting the Proximo site, which would take roughly 25 acres. If you can see the map there, Mel, you know, there's additional pieces of land that's going to be available for development as well. I wouldn't say all that's going to be usable, but we estimated between 20 and 30 acres.
So your anticipation is that you're going to be able to fill these as you go?
No, these sites will pretty much be ready
Okay.
once we excavate the site to fill in the 17 acres and whatever additional land that's needed. So
Okay.
we'll sculpt it to where this will pretty much be shovel-ready to go as well.
Okay.
So it'll have the Proximo site and then these other parcels of land that will be, pretty much shovel-ready.
Got two more questions.
Sure.
I've got a question for our former utility director. Mel?
Yes.
How much do we, as a city, already have invested in utilities to get to that site? I mean, we've got probably a pretty considerable investment right now, and I believe, and this is a history question, what do we have planned for this area? I mean, we went to the trouble of annexing it. We went to the trouble of putting utilities there. What were we looking at?
Development.
Was it
Future.
commercial development?
Commercial, residential, probably more commercial than residential, because that property right there doesn't lend itself really to residential.
And now, is that a number you'd feel comfortable? I mean, a rough estimate. Did we pay to have it done? Did we do it in-house? Did we?
The electric extension, we did in-house.
Okay.
The water extension, we paid a contractor to dig across the road and down the road, because we don't have equipment that'll dig that deep, or didn't at that time. It took a big track hoe to dig that because of the limestone. And Paul, I think, I could be wrong, but I believe that number was close to 200,000. Now, with our work going up Florence and across, probably add another 150 to that.
We could be looking at possibly another $500,000 that we put in it already.
Yes.
And I guess my question to Mr. Clausen is I actually got two questions for you.
You keep adding.
Well, have you thought about what we have there? Is it enough for the project that we would like to think about? I just need to, and the second part of this question is we do have another thing in front of us, and it doesn't have any utilities to it. We got two locations here, so how much of an advantage, what are we talking utility-wise?
Are you talking about the two different pieces of
I'm
property?
talking about two different pieces of property.
One of the properties has infrastructure in place and no real uses. I mean, there's nobody on Florence Drive. So whatever the anticipated development potential was, it's just not there, but infrastructure is. The other site, I believe, well, let me back up. Both sites are going to require a few things for me to be able to answer that question. Number one, what are the fire flows? Is there a pumping requirement? Mel's got his hand in the air.
Olin, going down Tanner's Creek, I believe it's an 8-inch main, stops at the end of that property there that they developed, whatever that company is. Interpack, which would be on the left side of the road. The wastewater stops at the same area, and stormwater probably stops at the same area. Now, going up Florence Drive, the utilities are all the way up.
Is the question, Paul, is the question on the two different proposals, those pieces of property, or on the 17 acres to be filled and the property on the hill?
Well, I'm trying to get in my head, just to, I've got to make a decision here on a vote. How much do we have to put in on Route 48? And what do we have and what don't we have to put in here?
Okay,
I mean, what are my
that's what I
comparisons?
thought you were asking. I'm sorry, Mel.
That's all right.
So both pieces of property are going to require fire flows, which are going to probably, the inferences would be that there's going to have to be some storage. So storage is probably going to have to be considered for both pieces of property. I don't believe we have any infrastructure on the 48, the piece of property on 48.
Not enough.
Except for the residential areas that are adjacent to it. So that would be, there would have to be a lot of things done to bring services to that piece of property. You have a piece of property that, bear in mind, I'm just giving you the apolitical answer on the properties. You've got a piece of property that has services but has no way to use them, basically. They're there, they were put in place. There was, and when I go up and look at them and what's there, it's obvious the anticipation was there would be something put there. The other piece of property does not have the same considerations.
The bottom line is, 8 years ago, we were looking to set something up on that hill.
And it's evident if you look at the infrastructure.
Okay. When you're talking about storage, I've worked over at Proxima, I worked at MG, PI. By storage in a water facility, do we mean a tank? Do we need a water tank?
The utility, Lawrenceburg specifically, for us to extend services, or I'll give you an example. When we try to provide emergency relief to the city of Aurora, we can lift water to every location except for the school. So the school is, if they have water problems with their water infrastructure, the school is unable to be served. Okay. And so we have for quite some time now looked at other elevated locations for which to put additional storage, elevated storage. Not just for Aurora and South Dearborn schools, but also because we have a significant amount of businesses out on the east end of town, or the west end of town, the west end of 50, that we want to be able to serve and not have interruptions of service and those types of things. And so there is a need. There is a need beyond just any one of these two proposals to have some additional elevated storage. Just having storage, in-ground storage, that would depend on what the fire flows are. I don't know if anybody knows those off the top of their head. So the engineer would have to tell us what the fire flow requirements are, and then we'd have to look at what our capacity is and our ability to feed those flows.
So what I'm hearing is what you're thinking about wasn't only for the benefit of this possible warehouse, but it would benefit a whole lot more than that.
What we had talked about as a utility was devoid of any of these conversations because we weren't aware of them. So we have additional needs for elevated storage that are standalone needs. But something like this, a project of this would only hasten that need.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Tony?
I have one. I'm just looking, you're wanting a grant for $6,720,000 to move the dirt?
I'm not sure if grant, Tony, is the right word, but,
Okay,
For-
so
yeah.
you get the grant, and this is for just 480,000 cubic yards. It could be
Correct.
a lot more than that.
correct.
And you're gonna pay us $1,440,000.
If it's 480,000 yards, cubic yards, yes.
So that means it's gonna cost you 4.2 million to move that dirt?
That's the cost, yeah. That's actually a below-market cost, for the sake of trying to make a deal happen for benefits of all party. It's actually below market costs. It's below engineered estimates costs of what it's going to cost to move the dirt.
And I believe that we've done research on that, and if I remember right, we had some paperwork stating that and somebody here knows what was stated, but I believe it was between $15 and $18 a yard, and it was worded different.
Wouldn't that be buying the property, buying the dirt that you're moving? And in this instance, they own the dirt. So you can't compare those two numbers.
It's moving it, Tony. That's, I've paid to have a lot of dirt moved, and it's just what it costs.
It's an expensive proposition. There's just a lot involved in the excavating. We're basically suppressing all our margins to give back to the city, to get the site ready. Whether we own this ground, or whether somebody else owns this ground, or the city owns the ground, one of these days, somebody's going to pay to level here and put the 17 acres on. It's only economical benefit for everyone to do that. And, you know, it would be more than my estimate would be is probably more than $14 a yard to move that. But market rate, we know, is more than the $14 per yard. Does that answer the question?
Yep.
Okay. And again, I don't know if grant is the right word or how the city wants to go about what funds they use to do it, but
I don't like the word grant.
I think it
Because
would be more of an employment contract.
okay.
I mean, we're basically
Hiring in the
paying them
work.
for a service. And for anybody that's wanting this thing done at a real cheap rate, we had that opportunity 5-6 years ago, and they chose to shut this development down. And again, it was a political decision. It wasn't based on
Facts or anything else.
just really, guys, you know, you got a chance here. It's not going to go away. There's no way an ordinary man can pay back $3 million if he ain't working and doing this kind of work. So, we're not here to talk about that, though. We're just here to look at the project. And in more ways than one, I think the project, like I say, the big thing for me tonight is I'm glad Mr. Montgomery's here backing both these people, because that shows me that I don't think he's really leaning one way or the other.
He wants a warehouse.
He wants a warehouse.
Well, the other way that, again, in my 2 cents for what it's worth, the city, Tony. I mean, I believe once the 17 acres is filled,
We'll sell it for $1.
no, we're going to sell it to you back to $1.
15 years, I've never seen a piece of property in the city of Lawrenceburg sold for appraised value.
Well, maybe not in the last 15 years, but I believe that being the most valuable piece of ground, or one of the most valuable pieces of ground, with what I assume is going to be a location close to the port. That ground's going to be really, really valuable, because there is no ground.
And the other part of that, Tony, the answer to that question is maybe somebody comes in there and wants that 17 acres that's gonna have a tremendous amount of jobs, a payback on taxes, you know, maybe something great will happen, so you know, it's not always about the money. Plus, it's our decision. Whatever been done 10 years ago, that ain't us no more. We need to be
But 10 years don't mean nothing now. It's how much we have to put on the citizens to pay for this now and what we want.
What 10 years you talking about?
10 years of development from the last 10 years.
I'm
This
talking
deal made.
10 years ago.
That's right. Well, deals that were made back then, that don't have nothing to do with now.
It's our duty right now to make good decisions. So we don't have to get rid of nothing for $1.
Well, no, again, just to clarify, we're going to sell the ground back to you for $1.
Right.
Yeah, that
We're basically giving it back to
normally
you.
happen in our-
So, and again, I would say, being in the real estate business, that
It's the other way around.
that ground is really, really valuable. You know, the city could put their own warehouse on there if they wanted, and probably charge a lot more than what we're going to charge Proximo.
We don't want to do that.
Well, I'm just, what you could do.
Can't own it, we can't collect property taxes.
Yeah, but,
We don't wanna do
you know,
that, do we?
however you go about it, if you put another 400,000 square foot warehouse there, and it generates $350,000 a year in property tax, this deal basically pays for itself in 5 years.
But, I was looking at that, but the city only gets a portion of property tax. The city doesn't get 350,000. They get a portion of the property taxes, which is way lower than this amount.
Unless you tip it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever, it's going somewhere. There's $350,000 of
It
property
goes
tax
to
that's
the
generated.
county and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'd like for our next meeting to have the finer points of both propositions here in front of me. Just, I know I've had them, but if we can make sure we get them again when we look at them, decide which one we want to go with.
Well, we can do that, but I would propose that we make that next meeting sooner than later for Mr. Montgomery's sake.
Yeah, I think they want to make a decision, and they're going to have to pull the trigger somewhere.
I think Mr. Montgomery's waiting on an answer on a warehouse from somebody.
The only other question I have, so maybe, since Dale's not here today, is, since it's employment contract, do we have to bid out this, since it's $14 cubic yard? Do we have to bid that out then, for a contract?
I don't know all that.
Okay.
These guys might be able to help, but I think those are all questions we can
Okay.
have answered before then,
Okay.
for sure.
Tyler, give that to Mel and them if they need to know. Sure. Thanks, man.
Here's what I would propose. If that's what everybody wants to do, is they want time to digest both projects or whatever and make a decision. But I would think that we need to do this pretty quickly. Redevelopment has a meeting next Monday, right? What time?
Work session at 4, meeting at 5, but if you need the 4 o'clock time slot, I'll make it work.
I don't know how that works in everybody's schedule, 4 o'clock
Who made this
meeting,
4 o'clock when?
next Monday.
Oh, that one.
I'm sorry.
This yours?
The paper you guys are getting is things that I've been sitting there thinking about for a week. And what I've done is wrote on a sheet, job to
I would have
job.
bet it was his.
You have any more of those?
You missing one?
They skipped me.
Tyler don't need one.
It's 4 o'clock. Does 4 o'clock work for you, Tony, on a Monday?
Yeah, that's fine.
Aaron?
I might be like 4:05, but yeah, around there, right there.
Well,
I'll be there.
4 o'clock work for you, Paul?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
You mind if we take that slot?
Got it.
4 o'clock next Monday.
You want us there?
Well, if you guys would like to be here, I think for questions, we would invite the other party too, but I think it would be the right thing to do.
Are we shooting for a vote?
Next Monday.
Okay.
That
I think
amicable
we-
for everybody?
I think we have to let Proximo know. what-
John, does that work for you? All right, buddy. All right, thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. Anybody got any other questions?
Mayor,
Yes?
we were in fits and starts with Structure Point, and I think I heard the number that needs to be obtained is the amount that's going to be required to fill the 17 acres.
Right?
You want us to get them to get that to you by Monday?
Well, we need a number.
Hey, right now, I don't need to hear it from them. I've been waiting for them for 6 goddamn months. I'd rather hear it from Michael in 2 days like he said he was gonna do it.
Can we get that in writing, Mike?
The last time we had a meeting, I asked them and they didn't do it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Pay them another
Well,
dime
yeah.
for their efforts. It's been starting and stopping for a couple weeks now.
When do you need it by? By Monday?
No, we'll do it before then.
Okay, when do you want it, and I'll have it to you.
Today's Monday, Thursday morning.
I'll have it.
We're gonna know what it's gonna cost to, or how many cubic yards it's gonna cost to take to fill 17 acres of that ground with the slope and everything.
Can I propose that you also look at the 7 acres as well?
Oh, let's make that a separate,
Okay.
do that separately, though, just, let's talk about the 17 and put the 7, or the additional where the, I guess, down by the boat docks, we own or something, as a separate, so we can look at both as a separate number. Any other questions up here? Anybody, from anybody? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna see if anybody's still at the office. Not, walked out without my keys again. You need to sit back and think about it a little bit. I ain't swinging
Meeting's at 6.
whatever, it's just
We need
facts.
to remove the fourth now. Or either volunteer. Make it 4 PM.
Give or take. They were talking about us doing it. They were talking about us doing it.
If we want. Thanks, appreciate it. Apologize, put you on the spot like that.
Hey Doug, how you doing?
This one? Here, I'll give you mine.
This was going on.
What day did we say?
Trying to keep all these meetings straight.
This too.
How about you?
Plan on every Monday.
Yeah. Okay, good.
We have 5 weeks left. Generally, we don't hit those. We do hit the 4th one every now and then.
Yeah.
Mayor,
Yes.
council,
I'm,
we do have a payment in advance.
I seen that.
Okay.
well, I'm trying to,
Hey, how you doing? Pretty good, how you doing?
It's at least 50 cents an hour, isn't it?
last time I came over.
I know you haven't, I gotta get it.
Take a picture of it.
Take a picture of all of it?
No, the map,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
I will. I want to let you know that.
I'll give you Tony's. Here you go, Joe. Take that one with you. He don't use it.
I'm talking about the,
Oh,
oh, okay. That's not on the map. Okay, so what is the map showing? I'll talk to you, and I'll make sure everybody knows about your situation. All right.
How you doing today?
Sir, how are you?
Good. Hopefully we get this resolved for you on Monday. One way or the other, we're gonna get somewhere,
Give me
yeah.
something. I know. How are you? I've tried to call you twice. You need to give me a new number because whatever I got doesn't work.
I'd love to hear your opinion.
Let me have it.
That will help keep things clear in the brain.
Let me have your number. Okay? Okay, I had 222. Okay, all right. I don't know who I called, but it wasn't you. So I'll give you a call tomorrow.
You got
Need a bigger notebook.
opinion on this, or you gonna stay neutral?
I'm trying to stay neutral, but I will tell you that it will matter because they may not both be the same price to us.
You should.
If one guy's got a lot more, if one company's got a lot more money and they're getting it billed, they're gonna charge me a lot
That, or we
more
can do something like this
for the
week,
lease
something.
cost.
You would be, I mean, would you talk to us, or just?
We'll go in till 10 o'clock at
Yeah, I
night.
would sure,
Yeah.
I think it needs to, I mean, if you approve the one that's gonna make it
to do
sky
tomorrow
high,
night, but
which I don't
anything
know
after
that,
that.
because I haven't seen a number yet.
You got your
So
card.
neither one of these,
Get your card. Give your call. We'll get together.
neither one of them have gave me.
Oh, we
a-
need numbers from each of them too.
I gotta know what's gonna cost me.
Makes sense, because
Yeah.
I'm doing it for you.
That's what I mean.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you're here for both of
If
them.
one of them comes in and says it's gonna
Hi,
be
Bobo.
900,000 a year, and the other one comes in and says it's gonna
Before,
be
buddy.
1 million.
They gave me $5,000 for my house. Had to. Mother camper.
Question back there, and or we could give them the gun here, our decision, or should
We'll do
we
that,
be
Tom.
pushing them?
We need to get that done.
I think you need
Yeah,
to, you need to push them for a number.
Yeah, 'cause they need to give him a number so we know, you know.
So then we'll just.
I can talk to
I tell
them
you
about
what,
that. I got a guy that could be,
But
he
here's
lives
the
down the
thing,
road
I
from
don't
me.
think we
He's
should
into
go
this
down
Wi-Fi
this
stuff.
week.
He's looking at a job near the future.
But at the next meeting.
He worked for the government, gets the government.
Then we back our decision off until they come with you.
We need to get right.
They need to come in and say, here's the number, because I don't have a number. I've been trying to get a number for 2 years.
Call off and then wait, I think.
Yeah, let them do what they're gonna, let them do what they're gonna do, and then, you know.
I have been after this for 2 years, and I've never got a number
Okay,
yet.
I work day shift, John, and go get in that van, and I that one time I was working day shift, he's out looking for warehouses, and I can actually say I seen that happen.
I'm paying the money.
We got trailers.
It's not like I gotta go come up with the money, because I'm already paying it out.
Yeah.
We got trailers.
This is an easy one for me.
We got them going to Hebron.
Well, worse it happens is they come in next week at 4 o'clock and don't have a number, we tell them you got 1 week to get him a number.
1 or 2 weeks.
I can't believe that after all this time, they wouldn't have numbers. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, John.
It's part of their property.
See you, buddy.
Part of the AEP property.
Hey, you too. Thanks for coming.
Does that help you a little bit?
Yeah, a lot. We did some work. I thought they all did.
All that stuff he just said there. I'm just wondering, because it looks like it's just at least maybe all time. I'm listening to myself, I want to hear from myself, you know what I mean? How much remains?
Both of them do.
Oh, yeah, I got it. I think we need to.
Oh, sir. Is Mike gonna be here tonight? Yes. Is he? Okay. Brian.
Hello, young man. I tell you one thing, I hate like the idea of, I don't like semis going down different. And I also don't like building a warehouse on the best subdivision.
In the residential area.
Well, that's my train of thought. I mean, those are two reasons why I don't like it. Right. And I'll tell them that.
Come with who?
Buddy, how you doing, man?
Busy one tonight, huh?
You know, you called me Thursday. Yeah. I get the Morgantown. You're one of the branch off. I got some medicine. I just find it funny to get some medicine. He said he might
Changed it again. Like my wife, she comes home with a different color every week.
Buddy, I wouldn't be telling that story. Back along.
Oh, I'm just saying, put it in the thing. It's really trying to get that one. What's been new with you, man? Anything? What's been new with you? Anything? I hear you. I hear you. Where
Summer Hill Farewell Party over at the buffet today.
She's been having a hard time finding a job with her career. She's got her degree and everything, but she's applied at every hospital around here and just hasn't had a lot of luck. She's tried to use referrals and everything. I think she's like a nurse management, or she would come in more of a management role. Yeah, told her to just keep applying. She'll find something.
We need to sign this off. Let's move forward, so I'll get the next one, bud, that's right. Okay. I'm just gonna shove this over here out of the way.
Oh, man. That is a good question.
I'm glad you thought about it. I preach like I don't mind. Hey, Tommy.
Think so?
You mean after they press the claims?
I don't think so. Well, I mean, it's so sweet. Everybody wants to see property. Well, thanks. I don't disagree with the idea. I'm not in a position about it. Well, I get what you're saying. It's not my decision to make, so if it works, I do. Sorry.
I think we need to send them a letter.
Oh, okay. Ordinance number is going to be 7-2017.
And I got one points. My neighbors wants to know what goes.
Resolution is
6-2017.
I'll have to make a list. Great, thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
There's $1 there.
Yeah, there is.
There's a penny in there somewhere.
I'm gonna have to bring it by your house and you can thank I'm supposed to give you the original?
When the date's on it, $1
Okay. I'll guide you through the ordinance. I think I got it, deal. You went over it. We'll make it. No, it's not that big. Everything's polite in there. That's it. Know what the beacon is? Yeah.
It's all positive in there.
Yeah, I mean, neither of those properties are